Welcome to another episode of the Membership Spotlight for the National Speakers Association Carolinas. I've got Alex Swire-Clark in the house. I'm so excited to have you here today. Alex, I know you've been a member of NSA for a while. Will you please tell us all about you?
Well, I'm an award-winning emotional intelligence expert, speaker, author, podcast host, father of 5, married to a wonderful wife of 25 years, got a dog. I play paintball, love board games. What else you want to know? It's all good stuff.
So, emotional intelligence. Tell us what that is exactly. Can you finally explain it? What does it mean? How do you get it? And since you're an expert, you would know.
Yeah, so people try to really make it complex and whatnot, but Hippocrates really started it back in BC, and then Carl Jung took to his book Personality Types and Psychological Types and really kind of progressed that forward back in 1921. So for me, the way that I teach it is being able to understand myself, self-awareness, and then being able to push out into other people, social awareness, being able to understand others, and then being able to adapt my behavior and my communication to meet others where they are. So from that self-awareness piece, am I an outgoing person? Am I reserved? Am I a people-oriented person, or am I task-oriented? And so we're all a unique blend of all 4 of those traits, and depending on the intensity of those traits kind of puts us in various quadrants. And so there's so many great models out there you can choose from to kind of help to teach that. There's Myers-Briggs, there's Culture Index, there's Performance Index, Predictive Index, Strengths Finders. And I use DISC because it's super easy to teach. I can have a conversation with my 10-year-old daughter about it, or a CEO of a $800 million company. And we can use that vernacular, that methodology throughout. So it's basically just understanding that I see the world in my own unique way. And so how I give and receive information is going to be different than Nicole, different than Stan, who we talked to this morning, different than, whomever that happens to be. And so understanding that, and then expanding our circle to then understand others, and then being able to adapt, because that's where the magic happens in communication. If I can adapt my style to Nicole's, if I know she's a little more reserved, then I need to come in like this, a little more subtle, a little bit softer, as opposed to someone who's an outgoing and task-oriented person. Hey, let's go. We got to do this. We got to 5,000. And you go, whoa, slow down. It's a celebration. No, we haven't done anything yet. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So that kind of thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, so tell us how you got into speaking. You've got this expertise, and then my guess is people said, can you come talk to our group, or what happened?
Yeah, so twofold story. Number one, my background is in education. I'm a former 6th grade teacher. So, when I get in front of people, it's always let's go crazy, let's have fun. I've got to keep people's attention, especially, the 6-year-old mindset. You've got about 30 seconds to get involved. So I've always been good in front of people. I was the shortest kid in my school until I was like a senior in high school. And so I developed this sense of humor to make people laugh and that kind of thing. So being a ham kind of comes naturally to me. And so I became a teacher, did that for 8 years, and then eventually transitioned into a CEO role at a medical billing company that a friend of mine and I started. And I'm still in that role today. So that's my Bruce Wayne job. That's my what kind of behind the scenes thing. And I'm Batman as a speaker. That's where I really have my passion. So in terms of how did I get started, I was in a group called Vistage. Vistage is an organization that's for peer CEO groups, and they're all across the world. And so I was a member of that for my CEO position. And what I did was I was like, I've got all these great speakers coming in. I'm learning about mergers and acquisitions. I'm learning about culture and communication, and this is just fantastic. And so we, as members of the group, have to make a host presentation every once in a while. And so it was my turn. And I said, well, I'm not going to talk about my company. I'm going to give you guys some nuggets about emotional intelligence, because we've been using this in our company to great effect. Our retention rates are about 93% in our company. So really low turnover, because we match people to these jobs and get them gaining energy from their roles versus losing energy from their roles. Yes. That's what we want. We want that passion, that purpose connected to what they're doing on a daily basis. So because of that, I said, okay, I did a little talk. So I did a 30-minute talk, and all the people in the room like, dude, you need to be doing this for a living. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, let's rock on. I said, well, you think? Maybe? I don't know. So I had my mentor, who was the chair of that group, who was also a speaker, said, oh, dude, you need to do this. So we kind of gathered a plan, did some things. I hired a speaking coach to help me with the business side of things. Obviously, Toastmasters is a great organization to help you perfect your craft when you're on the stage. Whoop, whoop, Toastmasters. But from my perspective, I thought my biggest weakness was I needed the organizational help. How do I grow this? how can I make this sustainable? What are the areas I need to? And so I employed Jane Atkinson, who is a great speaking coach from the Canada area, and she kind of helped put me on the path. And we love Jane. Jane's fantastic. And so she basically said, we learn to speak by speaking. I said, we learn to speak by speaking. So what does that mean again? And I was like, so she said, just get out there, speak to a Rotary Club. I said, okay, done. I did that, like 20 people there, not trying to sell anything, just perfecting my crafts, sharpening the sword, getting that down. And so that became a situation where I started speaking to these Vistage groups. And from there, they said, oh, this is phenomenal. You got to come do this in our company. So I was like, okay. And then, obviously when you're starting out, you have to figure out what your fees are and all that kind of good stuff. And so that's a longer story that we can cover a little bit later. But that's basically how I got to start.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going off the board for 20 points. Where's the weirdest place you ever spoke?
Okay. So I flew out to Los Angeles for a speaking engagement, and we spoke in this little microbrewery bar. And the coolest thing was, as I was talking, the backdrop was a picture of Jack Nicholson from The Shining. When he says, here's Johnny. So I've got Jack in the background, and I'm like, okay, it's me and Jack. Let's go, baby. We got to do this thing. And so that was a great trip. I got some additional business after that. But it was just really, really strange. This little small micro pub, and me and Jack, who was right over my shoulder. That was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Everybody's got a weird place that they've spoken.
Oh, yeah.
But I love the fact that Jack Nicholson was at your place.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
He was there, in spirit at least.
Yeah. Well, there are people that are out there that are speaking, that are doing our craft of storytelling and sharing great information, their expertise. But you went ahead and joined, at the chapter level. You joined the NSA Carolinas. Why do that? What's your big why behind that?
Well, to me, and the advice that I give to young people, I'm 40 years old now, and so I believe in mentorship and finding people who have been down the road that you want to go down. And if they're willing and open to give their information, to give their advice to you, to find those people and surround yourself with those folks who are interested in your well-being and your outcome. So I did that with NSA. And so when I was looking around, I said, I need to be if I'm going to do this thing for real, and not just make it a hobby or something to play with, I need to join NSA. I mean, that's where we do it. And so I did that at the national level. And I said to myself, I know there's got to be something local, like a Southeast membership or whatever. And I'm like, boom, Carolinas NSA. Hello, let's do this thing. And so, gosh, that was how many ever years ago that was. But my first meeting, I'm getting there, people introducing themselves, and just the nuggets of wisdom. I mean, they're just people who are giving and giving and giving in the true Cabot way. And it just, I was just, my notebook was overflowing. I mean, I needed like a recorder on my phone. I said, please say that again. And so just the information that really helped to kind of get me focused in terms of what I need to do in the business, from not only the craft itself, but here's where you need to be spending your time. Do I need to have a book? Yes. And here's why. Well, do I need to have a podcast? Well, yes. And here's why. And so those kind of tactical, practical things were so huge for me as just starting out kind of lost in the wilderness. Jane was a super advocate, but what NSA Carolinas did for me was validate everything that I was hearing from her. So it was just win-win all the way around. And so, just 2 weeks ago, I think this was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we sat down and listened to Anton Gunn, who was on President Obama's staff, and just phenomenal. I mean, people are just running out of ink. We're writing down so much stuff. And so people, and I can't speak to other chapters. I can just speak for the Carolinas chapter, but in our chapter, people are willing to give and give and give to help you succeed, because our mindset is the pie is big enough for everyone to have a share. And the better we are as a group, the better we are as a group. Does that make sense? The better we are as a group, the better we are as a group. And so, you look at the folks in our folks, we've got Hall of Famers right and left, and we're just super fortunate to have that. So that's why I joined, and that's why I stay.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And we've got lots of great upcoming stuff going on. In fact, one of the things that's coming up is we're having a showcase. Did you sign up for the showcase?
I have not signed up for the showcase yet. No, not yet. Well, because a lot of things happen on weekends with NSA as they do. And with 5 kids, right, I've got band or soccer or gymnastics or whatever. And so I have to kind of get my head around, and there's only so many brownie points in the tank here at the house because, you know, when I'm doing great things, it's good. But when I'm not, it's like I've spent too much time outside there. So, you know, that's that work-life balance thing. But yes, so Showcase is on my radar.
Okay, because you're just so stinking funny, so fun to be around. I think a Showcase from you would be. All right, so put that on the list that I'm gonna be pestering and prodding Alex to get on the next Showcase because we just totally want to see that. All right, so let's pretend that there is that special listener listening right now. Okay, you're channeling it, you're feeling it, good. And we want to give this special listener who's like, I think I want to be a speaker. I did really well in speech class in 8th grade or whatever, and they think that they want to do this for a living. What would you do if you were their mentor? What would you say?
Oh gosh, Nicole, that's a loaded question because there's so much that, I mean, we can't talk about in this interview that I would love to sit down for like 3 hours and talk to them. I think the first thing is find your authentic voice. I'm a funny, crazy person. I don't mind, you know, going or doing just goofy stuff on the camera. That's who I am. But not everybody is. So my first advice is find your authentic voice. Find out who you are. You don't have to be, you know, some crazy wild person. You don't have to be a Hall of Famer. You have to be you, because when you're you and you tell stories that are authentic, you touch people's souls, you touch people's hearts, and that's when you get impact. If you try to be something that you're not, people can tell quite easily and you don't get the engagement that you want. So if you're really passionate and purpose about, you know, whatever happens to be, you know, saving the whales, or, you know, just telling an inspirational story about how you survived a car crash or a plane crash, or maybe you talk about leadership, maybe you talk about the fundamentals of business, whatever those topics are, be authentic to who you are. That'd be the number one nugget. And the second one I would say, Nicole, is find a mentor. Get a mentor, invest in yourself, invest in your business, because now I spent thousands of dollars to get hooked up with Jane because she is fantastic, but every penny worth it. I mean, and more, because she put me on the path and narrowed that learning curve to a point where, you know, I was up to, you know, 6 figures in, you know, annual income in 3.5 years. So that's a testimony to her, you know, her knowledge and her getting me and, you know, kicking me in the butt when I needed it, but patting me on the back when I did a good job. So find a mentor, get someone who is going to be an advocate for you and help you channel and craft the skills that they're already in you that just need to be pulled out.
That is beautiful advice. Okay, well, I know people are going to be like, well, how do I hear more from Alex? So if I wanted to watch a video, I wanted to read about you, I want to find out more about getting up with Alex, what do they need to do? How do we find you?
Yeah, so just go to Alex Swire-Clark on YouTube, and you can learn. You can see all my demos and videos and whatnot. You can go to alexswire-clark.com. That's my website. That's got links to my assessments. If you're interested in personality assessments and you want to go to a store, my little store's out there. My assessments are super inexpensive, $12.95. Gives you lots of great content. So, but I hate pushing stuff. You know, I've got a book and all that stuff, but I'm more about giving. Just you know, like Nicole, we give. And so I would give it away for free if I could, but you know, I do have 5 kids, but yeah, alexswire-clark.com. 5 kids.
Well, you know what my father would say? He would say, do you know that, you know what causes that, right? That's what he would say to me.
Of course. Yeah. I've had that happen several times. Dude, okay, you know,
very good.
It's number 3. Right, you know.
That's right. Okay, well, Alex Swire-Clark, it has been an absolute delight to feature you in the membership spotlight. We are so glad that you joined us. Yeah. And we'll be looking forward to your spotlight video where you give us a portion of one of your speeches so that we can also show people what really great craftsmanship looks like in the speaking business. Thank you so much for being on the spotlight. I hope you have a vibrant day.
Thanks, Nicole. Same to you. Take care.